What's up, good people? My name is Kashaya, and today I just wanted to come and share a word, some scripture with you, and hopefully this helps somebody that's going through tough times and whatever the case may be. But let's go. So I will be in First Corinthians 4. I will be reading 1 through 14. Yes, I'm gonna read all of it and I'm gonna talk about it. I'll tell you what the title is in a little bit. All right, so it says, think of us as servants. This is the ESV version. Think of us as servants of Christ who have been given the work of explaining God's mysterious ways. And since our first duty is to be faithful to the one we work for, it doesn't matter to me if I am judged by you or even by a court of law. In fact, I don't judge myself. I don't know of anything against me, but that doesn't prove that I am right. The Lord is my judge, so don't judge anyone until the Lord returns. He will show what is hidden in the dark and what is in everyone's heart. Then God will be the one who praises each of us. Friends, I have used Apollos and myself as examples to teach you the meaning of the saying, follow the rules. I want you to stop saying that one of us is better than the other. What is so special about you? What do you have that you were not given? And if it was given to you, how can you brag? Are you already satisfied? Are you now rich? Have you become kings while we are still nobodies? I wish you were kings. Then we could have a share in your kingdom. It seems to me that God has put us apostles in the worst possible place. We are like prisoners on their way to death. Angels and the people of this world just laugh at us. Because of Christ, we are thought of as fools, but Christ has made you wise. We are weak and hated, but you are powerful and respected. Even today, we go hungry and thirsty and don't have anything to wear except rags. We are mistreated and don't have a place to live. We work hard with our own hands, and when people abuse us, we wish them well. When we suffer, we are patient. When someone curses us, we answer with kind words. Until now, we are thought of as nothing more than the trash and garbage of this world. I am not writing to embarrass you. I want to help you, just as parents help their own dear children. The topic, the title is called Fishing in Muddy Water. Fishing in muddy water. Y'all, when we look at First Corinthians 4 1 through 14, especially when we look at, let's see, 9 through 13, right? Where, um, excuse me, Paul is highlighting the work of the apostles, right? The conditions in which they live, the hatred that they get, how they're considered fools for doing the work of explaining the mysteries of God, right? God tells us that we are to be fishermen of men. Okay, we are to be fishermen of men. And when we look at the conditions that the apostles were sent out to be fishermen of men, right? They didn't have a set dwelling place. They had rags for clothes. They didn't have the newest or the nicest things. They funded themselves, right? They didn't have people giving to them. They were doing their own work to cover and provide for their ministries. What else does it say? They were considered fools while everybody else was wise. They were hated and disrespected while everyone else was powerful and respected. Yet these were the men, these were the people that God trusted not only with the mysteries and to explain them to people, but he believed and he knew that regardless of the muddy water that they had to go find these fish in, right? That they were able to go help and find the lost sheep or the lost fish, just to go with the title, right? Sometimes the conditions that God will have you in, it's not because He doesn't love you. Maybe it's because He trusts that you can handle whatever the situation is. And I know people don't want to hear that. It's not easy to hear, but it's the truth when we look at the word. A lot of the people that God used mightily, or He kept close to Him, right? They had to go through some tough situations. It wasn't always nice and pristine. They didn't always have a roof over their head. They did not always have the latest things. They were not in the in crowd, right? We can see just looking at 1 Corinthians 4 1 through 14, where it says they were despised and hated. For Christ's name's sake, you are going to be hated. You're going to be seen as foolish when you do certain things because it's not going to make sense. But God is still trusting you to be fishermen in the muddy water. So you might not be able to fish on the coast of the Bahamas where it's just gorgeous. I love the Bahamas, y'all. The Bahamas, the beach at the Bahamas is absolutely beautiful, okay? But everybody doesn't get the opportunity to fish or to swim in that type of water. Everybody doesn't get to be a fisherman on the coast of the Bahamas. Whatever other island that you like that is beautiful to you, if God is trying to use you, or if God is wanting to do something in your life, you might not get the opportunity to be at the best place or the best venue. But it does not mean that you are not worthy or that you are not loved. It could just mean that God is trusting you with more, right? All of us don't get to fish in our favorite beach or our favorite resort. Some of us have to fish from the slums. And you still have to make it work. You still have to be able to stand. A lot of the things that Christians have to face, especially with all of these things changing, they want to do the one world order or whatever the Pope was talking about. All of these things that they're trying to put in place, do you think Christians, the real solid Christians, are going to bow to this new way of life that they want for us? We're not called to. We're called to be set apart, right? A lot of us, we want to be fishermen. We want to, do all of these things. There's a scripture in the Bible where I think it's in First Timothy. I did a podcast earlier. I said it was in Corinthians or Galatians, but it's in Timothy, and it talks about how some people, they want to, do ministry work, or they want to do this and do that because they believe they're going to obtain wealth from it. But we see the apostles who God sent out, it says they went without often, right? They didn't have the latest clothes. They didn't have a house. They didn't have a definitive dwelling place. Those That was not the conditions that they went out and fished in, right? They were not fishing in ideal territories. They had to do the work in muddy water. Scripture talks about how light is a burden. And for any of you who have a light given by God, um, you understand that the light in itself is a burden. It's a responsibility. It's work. It's work. It's a lot required to maintain it. It's a lot required to guard it. It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's light because we have God walking with us, right? We have God talking to us. We have God teaching us. We have God directing us. We have God covering and shielding us. But the light itself is a burden. There are things that come with it. Persecutions being a big one. Rejection being another one. These are all things that if you desire to be used greatly by God, that you have to be able to deal with that. You have to be able to still stand despite all of the persecution, all of the rejection, everybody thinking you're foolish. And you still have to go out and say, God, I want to go make sure that your people find you, that they see you, that they see the light that you have given me, and they can see you through me. You know how much work these apostles had to do? Do you know how some of these apostles' lives ended because they chose to serve Christ? They had to be fishermen in situations that are not ideal, but they stood anyways. They stood anyways. So this message is an encouragement, hopefully, to anyone that's going through just life, and it's hard, it's heavy right now. I pray that you will be able to get to a place mentally and spiritually where the things of this world are not burdening you down, and they're not getting you down to the point where you feel like life is not worth living anymore. Sometimes the things that we go through here in earth, right? This is your season, your choice. There's a blog that I made on my website, www.Ls2Elevation.com, and it talks about your season, your choice. But as believers, we have a choice, right? We can choose to enjoy the world and all of the things that comes with it now, or we can choose to have to suffer a few things now, right? And then be able to receive the reward later. Like once God comes in and cleans up everything here on the earth that he has not approved of. We have a choice. So the suffering is not easy. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good for people that's constantly worried about their image, or um you want to look nice, or you want to appear a certain way to man. But it's really about the internal work that we have to do here on earth. I'm sure the apostles had so much work to do internally. They were all uniquely different. They all managed their gift differently, but the purpose was the same. The intent was to make sure that they were out sharing the word and the message of God. It didn't matter about all of the other things, right? They got to a place which I'm working every day to get 100% there. I feel like I'd be 80%, sometimes 90, depending on the day. But I'm working to get to 100% of the place where, when I can bless people that curse me. That's difficult sometimes, especially when you're dealing with it all the time. It's hard to do, but it's doable. We see the apostles figured it out, right? So if they can figure it out, we can figure it out as believers of Christ as well. It's not easy, but let me tell you something. When a person is trying to get you upset and they can't, guess who mad now? Not you. When a person is trying to get you upset and they cannot get you upset, guess who mad? It's not you. So yeah, it sucks sometimes, blessing people that, our mouths, I'm sure, want to curse. However, it's doable, right? And so God has put a lot of things in play where, one, he's going to cover us, but the things that he gives us, right? It's never anything more than we can bear. And yes, some of us have to fish in situations that are not ideal. But those of us who do get to fish in ideal situations, you know, I'm happy for y'all. But for those of us who gotta fish out the mud, just gotta get your boots and just do what you gotta do. Put on them little water suits or whatever people be fishing in. I be them jumpsuits and dive. It's make it work. Go get your fish. But that's my word for today. Fishing in muddy water. It gets better. It's not ideal, but it's not anything that we cannot get through or that we cannot overcome. And so, for any of you in tough, muddy situations right now, just keep standing, just keep pushing forward, just keep moving, right? Keep throwing your rod out. Eventually, you will catch a hearty catch, okay? Just keep reeling people in. It doesn't matter. People are going to talk about you, people are going to judge you, but as you see, it doesn't matter if they judge you, right? Because God is our ultimate judge. So, for those of you fishing in muddy water, keep fishing. Keep fishing. That's my word for today. Love you later.